Hello friends, I am Guninder Sidhu. Today we are going to talk about Osho. Very strangely, I have been a ardent reader of books. I have read many of books. But as destined, I did not read even a single book of Osho for the last 30 years. I was never introduced to Osho. But just recently I accidentally stumbled upon Osho, and it was a very refreshing, rejuvenating and a kind of enlightening experience for me. Actually, a friend of mine, he introduced Book of Mirdad to me, and he said that according to Osho, the Book of Mirdad is the best book of this world. I somehow ordered that book, and when I started reading the Book of Mirdad, I realized that this is the magnum opus, really a complete book of spirituality. And after that, I got curiosity to know about Osho. Then I ordered his another book that is about Krishna. When I read that book, I realized that Osho has a great insight. He is a scholar. He knows many of things, and the best thing is that he has not only the clarity of thought, but he has clarity of expression too. He has a very colloquial expression. Colloquial means informal, not formal. He makes references of stories, anecdotes, and several historical facts and intellectual things. And all these things are so well managed, so well dissolved into each other, that Osho makes a very interesting and enlightening study. When I was reading Krishna, I realized that I have never seen Krishna as Osho introduced him to me. I liked the expression of Osho when he said that humanity has still to develop to reach at the level of Krishna. Though about several thousand years back, the literature about Krishna was written. But he says that he is still a god of future. He says that humanity still has to embrace the laughing, dancing, singing religion. Humanity has only known the religion which is stemmed from suffering, which sees the world as if it is a sickness. But Krishna is the one who is not only participating in all the goodness and the badness of the life. While reading his book about Krishna, I realized that he has opened several unknown dimensions of Krishna. I never perceived Krishna in that way. Osho says that Krishna is the god of totality, wholeness. For him there is nothing good and bad. Whether he is in Mahabharata or in Ras Leela, he is the same person. While we have to be like that, we have to be participant of everything in life, but not to be judgmental. And that is the biggest teaching that Osho has given about Krishna. That is the God of totality, wholeness. After that, I started reading many books of Osho, but I prefer to read the books of Osho which he has written about something great, like about Upanishads, Sufis, Pythagoras, Zen stories, Taoism, Chuangzi. And I tell you that it is such a blissful experience for me. And in the book of Krishna, Osho defines bliss. Bliss is not only the enjoyment of goodness, but at the same time it is the hardcore way of spiritual acceptance of the bad too. When goodness and badness, they are almost the same thing for you. That is the state of bliss. And I am experiencing that bliss while reading Osho. He has great insight. Like about Sufis, he says that don't think that a Sufi is dancing. Sufi is being danced. There is something inside which is dancing, and Sufi is just following it. There is an overflow of bliss in him. That is why he is dancing. He has a very different but very deep and profound perspective about all the things. And I tell you that he has great capacity to decondition, detox our mind. He has capacity to connect ourselves to our own self. He says that essentially we have a natural and original center within us, which is peculiar and different to us only. But that specialty opens the doors for the outer world too. We can connect to the outer world only through our own distinctiveness. And Osho has that capacity to introduce you to your distinctiveness. We are planning to do several episodes on Osho. And one thing I want to point out, that if you want to see the peak, the highest point, and the deepest point also of Osho, then there is one book. That is Book of Secrets. Actually, in this book, Osho has given a commentary on Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Vigyan Bhairav Tantra is, Vigyan means consciousness, the rationality, logic. Bhairav is supra-consciousness, beyond our consciousness. And Tantra is technique. It is about 5,000 years old text. And in this, there is a dialogue between Shiva and Parvati. And it is immensely fruitful book. And Osho's commentary about this dialogue between Shiva and Parvati is equally profound. If you want to see the excellence of Osho, then I will recommend this book. Now, this episode was only about the introduction about Osho. But before ending this episode, I want to say a few things that while following Osho, please take care of two things that I want to suggest. First thing is that there is a concept given by Sigmund Freud, and that is repetition and compulsion. Even Sigmund Freud was baffled by the attitude of humanity, that humanity, the human beings, they suffer one thing, but at the same time they have the compulsion to repeat that suffering. It happens in the case of drug addicts or alcoholic persons. They suffer from hangover, but still they have compulsion to repeat that experience. It happens in political life. People get frustrated by the government, but still they opt for another government. It happens in social life. People get fed up or they find fault in other people, but still they are doing the same thing. And it happens in religious life too. People get disillusioned by one way of thinking or one way of religion, then they opt for another and another and another. And every time they get frustrated. This is repetition and uncanny compulsion to repeat that thing. Now here I want to say that insight is also given by Osho, that here the fault is not with the outer world, the fault is with our mind. We have that unstable, doubting mind. Unless we do the surgery or chop off that mind, we are going to do the same thing, compulsion and repetition. So if you want to approach Osho, then approach with open mind, not with the compulsion of repeating the same frustrating experience. The second thing that I want to suggest about Osho is that even Osho says that we have that one distinctive center, and Osho has capacity to take us to that center. And he says that from the childhood, several fictitious centers have been made in us in the name of religion, social norms, etiquettes, and lot many of things. And if you have to open another center in the name of Osho, then Osho is of no use for you. If you want to establish a statue of Osho and do the chanting of Osho in front of that statue, then Osho is of no use for you, because it will be a kind of constraining Osho in another doctrine, in another ritual, in another ism. Osho, what I've read so far, it is a free-flowing river. Even his style is very spontaneous, extempore. So just have a dip in Osho and do it only with the purpose of knowing yourself. And Osho is a great vehicle who can take you to yourself. With these words, I conclude this episode here. Thank you.